still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Of course, today on the program, it is more or less like an awareness because it looks like a lot of people do not really understand what this is all about. Yes, eye banks. What are eye banks? What are they known for? Is it a common practice in Nigeria? That's part one. And then you hear cornea donation, and then you hear, why would I... excuse me, why would I leave my eyes for someone else? But again, the question to ask is, once you're gone, are those eyes still useful? Okay, so we have a guest in the house this morning. She will educate us about all we need to know about issues surrounding cornea donation and eye banks generally in Nigeria, and probably Lagos as a case study. This morning we have a consultant ophthalmologist from LASTERTH, that's the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, Ikeja, Dr. Sedote Bashoron. Thank you for being here on the program today.
Thank you very much.
Right, so let's talk about the eye business because definitely this is all about. So when you talk about eye banks or eye banking, what exactly is that?
Okay, so the eye bank is an institution where it has the responsibility of harvesting corneas from donors, potential donors, and also processing these corneas and then transplanting it to those people that are in need of it. Because there's some group of people that are blind from corneal diseases. Okay. So there are some people that harvested corneas from people that are dead can be useful too. It's actually a life-giving experience for some, and it's been, a life-changing experience for others. So the harvested corneas can be used and people can see again. Wow. People that were previously blind can see again with those transplanted corneas. So the eye bank is an institution that has that responsibility of, harvesting corneas that have been, from people that have pledged to donate their eyes when they die, and processing these corneas and then subsequently distributing it, because really there are several institutions, teaching hospitals that are equipped with being able to transplant corneas, so they distribute those corneas to those institutions. LASTERTH is one of them, and other teaching hospitals that have that capacity. So that is the primary function of the eye bank.
Okay, when I saw the topic, just like one of my colleagues over there said, eye banking, it was alien to my ears. And the next thing I would like to find out is, are we embracing cornea donation in this part of the world? Because while I was studying for this particular topic, I read about some superstitious belief about the donation of the cornea.
Yes, the truth is that it's not really been encouraging, because so far we've just had 2 corneal donors, 2 indigenous corneal donors in Lagos. So it's not been very encouraging, but definitely we hope to create more awareness about that, and that is one of the reasons for this talk. And of course, the myths surrounding cornea donation has not really helped. People tend to believe that when they die, they are likely to reappear in another life. And they believe that once the corneas have been harvested from them, then they won't have eyes to see. And that is actually not true, because we know that, when we die, I keep telling people that have tribal marks, for instance, when they come in another life, do you see a newborn baby with tribal marks?
Tribal mark already.
Because the truth is that the cornea starts to melt, after some time. Just like the whole body decays, it's also part of the organ that starts to decay. So it's not going to be useful for anybody.
It's better not to waste it.
So it's better to actually give, because you're actually giving someone sight. Take for instance, a young man came to the consulting room. He was blind. He's in his 40s. And, it's not him alone. He has the responsibility to cater for his family. And, in this part of the world, we have this communal relationship with the extended family. That person, that singular man, has the potential to provide for a large number of the family. And, if you look at the age of people that are usually cornea blind, they are usually in their most productive life. So we're looking at loss to the economic, growth. So it's not just at the family level, it's to the nation as a whole. So it's very important for people to understand this, that you're not taking your corneas to anywhere. You are going to, and the thing is that, the cornea is just the transparent parts of the eye. That is all what we are removing. We're not even harvesting the whole of the eye.
You're making it sound look so simple, like that's just what we are removing.
No, but that is the truth, because if you are faced with the reality of people that are blind, and you know that with something very so-called easily, their life can be transformed, and you look at it, the people that who opens the eyes of a dead person, and the eye is still there. It's just that transparent part. People don't even notice it, because usually in front of this black thing that we see, there's a transparent part of it. So it's not just the front of the eye that is black. There's a transparent part, and that is just what we're removing.
Okay. So people who've lost their eyesight because of cornea diseases, so what are some of the issues that people might face that could affect their cornea?
Okay, so in this part of the world, previously, I think it's getting better now. There's something called vitamin A deficiency, where children are born and because they don't have enough vitamins, vitamin A precisely, in their diet, they develop some corneal opacities, and that causes the corneal blindness in them. But due to the upgrading of the primary healthcare, that is getting better. Not to say that we don't say that. We saw one quite recently again. So that is one. Then we also have problems of keratoconus, some diseases where people have, they just have this cornea problems that develop usually in their teens and early adulthood. Okay. Then also sometimes from trauma, people, that's why there's already a lot of advocacy in schools about, rough play, handling pencils and that. So all those things can cause scars on the cornea and definitely render that person, render the vision poor. And sometimes, usually when an eye is lost due to one reason or the other, the risk of harming that other eye or injury to the other eye is automatically increased. So you could have someone that has had trauma and having another trauma. So that is one thing that can cause it. Then also we have, from surgeries, it could be complications of surgeries. It could be due to some dystrophies. These are problems that people are generally born with, that we don't know why, but, there are familiar predispositions to them. Then also, one major thing, it's about people having maybe just a conjunctivitis, which is popularly known as Apollo. Then, we get all sorts of installation. People put all sorts of things in that eye, ranging from breast milk to sugar water to salt water to
urine.
To urine, yes, over-the-counter medications. So we have all those things, and those are the major culprits of corneal blindness.
So self-medication is a huge problem also here.
Okay, before, I don't know if you have a question?
Yes, what about non-prescription and contact lens? Is it also a cause for cornea?
Yes, contact lens is something that can cause corneal blindness, especially when it's not properly. For contact lenses, there are rules to using them. Hygiene is paramount. They can easily be infected when the protocol is broken. So that can cause corneal blindness. So for patients or for people that use contact lens, they have to be very careful and follow the routines. If the indication on the contact lens is do not sleep with this contact lens, then do not sleep with it. If it says do not swim with contact lens, do not swim with it. If it says you can only wear it for a particular number of hours within a day, then it's important to adhere strictly to that. And sometimes, for people that use contact lenses, there may be some infection, just common viral infection that is seasonal, and it's usually advised for those period of time to use glasses or other forms of aids rather than contact lenses because they are more prone to infection.
Right.
Okay, when when you remove, okay, when you harvest, when you harvest the cornea, does it go through any process for you to know if it's healthy or it's going to serve
If
the
it's a
purpose
match.
for which it's meant for?
Okay, so yeah, definitely we do that. Once a corneal has been harvested, there's a processing that goes through. We check if there's infection, if the cornea is suitable, if the cornea can actually be used, for the cornea, for the person that is intended to be. But one thing that we have noticed, even though we've done some transplants from corneas abroad, but the few ones we've done in Nigeria, we've realized that they take better. There's something about, a cornea of the black to the black. So we've noticed that they tend to do better than those ones that were harvested
Abroad.
from abroad, yes.
Okay.
So
you, just like you store in the eye banks or in any banks generally, you also can get the cornea from other parts of the country or outside Nigeria and then store for use. Is that also acceptable?
Yes, yes.
So those ones, are they're still natural, or is there any difference? Synthetic.
So it's just the same process, the people donate. Here in Nigeria or Africa as a whole, there's still a challenge of people donating organs and people generally being organ donors. So in most of those countries, it's not really a big deal. But, as population is, so to answer your question, what they do is that they harvest, people donate, and we get to use those corneas. But the challenge to that is that the cost of importing those corneas are way too expensive.
Right.
An average Nigerian can't afford it.
Okay.
So that is a major barrier to that. And secondly, for them, the challenge is also that their own population too is growing, just like every other population. So it's becoming increasingly difficult getting corneas from those countries. So we foresee that in future they may not want to give
to sell
anymore. They may not want to give anymore, and so that becomes a major challenge. So to avoid that happening, that's why we're saying that people can voluntarily donate their corneas. It won't be taken when they are alive. Of course, they need the cornea to see. But they can pledge at the eye bank, and we get the contacts. And once the families are aware that they are donors, because usually when people die, the families want to respect their wishes. So if they are donors, it's something we'll do. They don't even need to come to anywhere. We'll go to their homes.
And then harvest.
We'll harvest it, and it's a clean and neat, quiet procedure. Nobody even gets to know, except those that are really concerned or that needs to know.
So it's not a big surgery harvesting?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Okay. If the cornea is malfunctioning, assuming the person is still living now, what are those signs that one could easily see for you to know that your cornea is faulty?
Okay, so some of the things are like when you're looking at light, for instance, like a bright light, you start seeing colors around it. Instead of the white light, you're seeing it's been broken down into different colors, just like the colors of the rainbow. So they may give examples like, oh, I'm seeing rainbows around lights. My vision is not very clear. It's hazy. I'm seeing like fog when I'm seeing it's always like harmattan when I see people. Or sometimes they can say that I'm not able to see far at all. I'm just able to see things that are very close to me. And some may say that I'm seeing lines, things are distorted, I'm not really able to see clearly. So those are some of the signs.
Okay, so so people who also follow up to Jubila's question will be, how important is it for you to get your eyes checked regularly? And then if you're checking, how many times in a year is it recommended that you at least get your eyes checked?
So at least minimum once a year. It's very important, because apart from corneal problems, there are other things that may not necessarily give signs, that can potentially cause blindness. One of it is glaucoma. Glaucoma is it's the commonest cause of irreversible blindness. So it's a big deal, because no matter what you do, you can't, as I speak now, you can't reverse the blindness, the amount of vision loss that glaucoma causes. Yes, there are.
But can you prevent?
We can prevent. We can even halt what is happening now. We can, prevent further damage, further loss. But as it is now, we can't reverse the vision that is lost. So that is why it is very important, especially when there's been a family member or members of the family that has glaucoma.
Yeah, so once there's a family history, you need to take care about that.
Can someone with glaucoma donate his or cornea after death?
After death?
Yes, it's very possible because the cornea is at the outer part of the eye. Glaucoma affects the back of the eye.
Okay.
So the front of the eye is
still
good.
very okay.
Yes, it's just because, some people are blind from glaucoma and their corneas are still intact. So the thing that is causing the blindness in them is the back of the eye.
Okay.
So once that can be taken care of, they can see. But, the cornea doesn't have anything to do with that. So even a blind person, after they can
still do.
donate.
Right. So now we're talking about, getting more people to be aware of the need to pledge to donate their cornea when they are dead. So how does it work? So with the pledge, is it just signing of documents, signing of papers, or have you also had issues where somebody actually pledged, but the families declined and said, you know what, we don't want to do this. We don't want to bury this person with one part of the organ missing or gone. We know, we can be very dramatic. So how does it work when you make a pledge?
Okay, so basically what we try to do, or what we are doing now, is to involve the family member. Of course, just like you mentioned, we've had that kind of case before. In fact, we've had cases whereby the families don't even inform us. They don't, because, when the person dies, it's the responsibility of the family to let us know that this person is dead. Some don't even inform us at all.
And the person already made a pledge to donate.
Yes. So, but now, because, initially the families were not a major part of the eye donation process, but now they are aware, they are part of the signing process. We also contact them, usually maybe when we are saying Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from the eye bank, we also inform the family, the family member that is the next of kin, so that it's not just that we're talking to the donor alone, we're also bringing the family along. And if the family member says no, they don't want us to harvest, even if we get to know, then we will respect their wishes because we can't cause more troubles.
I just stumbled on something now, talking about diabetic retinopathy. Can someone with diabetic retinopathy benefit also from cornea transplant? No,
except the person also has some corneal problems. Diabetic retinopathy is majorly affects the back of the eye.
Okay, not the front.
It has, but not as the front would not necessarily cause reduce the loss of vision as compared to the back. The major problem with them is the back of the eye.
Okay. So for somebody who's going to benefit from a donation from the eye bank, do they need to make payment, or is it free of charge? Or how expensive will it be for you to get a cornea from the eye bank?
Okay, so if it's a cornea that has been indigenously donated, then it's at no cost, because the cost is just the cost of processing of the cornea and cost of surgery wherever they want to, because they may not necessarily do the surgery in Lagos.
So you also give such to people who don't want to perform the surgery with you?
Yes, it can be. It's open. It's for the betterment of the Nigerian population. So, that is the process. That is the function of the eye bank, to distribute also when they have enough corneas. But when we source for these corneas abroad, they're quite expensive.
Okay.
So they pay for the transportation, the total package. As at now, if we don't even, because of this instability of the dollars, so we just tell them that it's $1,000
to get the cornea.
To get the corneas. but you also need to pay for the processing at the eye bank and also the surgery wherever you'll be having
Wow.
the surgery.
That's
Okay, so
huge.
what are those habits or lifestyle that we must imbibe to keep our cornea healthy and generally our eyes?
Okay, so there's this computer vision syndrome that has been that's very common now because of the upsurge of the COVID-19 and and its sequelae. So we usually tell people, think and blink. When you're on the screen for a long time, take time out to blink and take some break actually, while doing that. Then also we encourage people when there is when there's any problem with the eye, maybe redness or discharge or discomfort generally, please visit the hospital. Do not use urine, do not use breast milk. Breast milk is very common. In fact, some people, if not
Do
even,
people use that?
Oh, yes,
a lot.
they do.
They don't even. Some people don't even take their own urine.
They take
They
someone
take someone
else's.
else's urine. And we also, because some of these things are things that have been passed down from generation, especially
Right.
grandmothers.
But it's also
saying-
very common with babies, mothers to babies.
Yes.
You use breast milk on your baby because you realize there's a discharge. So yes, people do it. People do it. So, and then you also mentioned earlier the fact that this is also quite common in your formative years. So this also could be a generational problem where mothers unknowingly have contributed to the destruction of the cornea of their kids. Is this any way true?
Yes, it's very correct. And, especially, sometimes some of these grandmothers come around and they tell them what they feel and, installations of all sorts of things, actually. Some are herbal concoctions, some things. Recently, I saw one with engine oil
Where?
into the eye. Yes, into the eye, installation of engine oil into the eye. Urine is very common, urine, the breast milk, then sugar water, some kind of water solution that they've made. So those things are quite common and they cause so much damage to the cornea.
How about people, redness and all of that, and then you buy over-the-counter eye drops?
Yes, over-the-counter is not recommended because, if you look at your eye as an egg, really, you don't want to harm it. You don't want to do anything that would potentially, cause any damage to that. So if we see our eye as an egg, really, when these things occur, it just takes a bit of time to visit the ophthalmologist and complain. This is, it's better for the ophthalmologist to say, oh, this is not a serious issue, just use this and this and this and you'll be fine, than, using those things that you don't know that you go over the counter to get. And, and the thing is that because we are at a tertiary center, we see them when they've gone through everything. Yeah, so it's usually very saddening because these things are things that don't even, there are things that shouldn't even be causing blindness in the first place. There are things that are just, things that we could just use some medications. Some medications are not they're not so expensive and can be used to cure that disease. Because at the end of it, when these problems happens, the cost of restoring back vision is a lot more than what would have initially cost.
Okay, if there's anyone watching us right now, probably in Lagos or in any part of the country, and they're willing to donate before they depart this world, what are the channels that they need to follow?
So we can go through the eye bank. The Eye Bank of Nigeria is located in at Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. There's a website to it and their contacts which we can share.
Okay. All right. So how successful, the success rate of the cornea transplants, that's part one of my question. Then the second is, can a donated cornea also develop a problem?
Yes. So to the first question, usually before we deemed, because not all corneas that are bad can actually benefit from a transplant.
Okay.
So we would have examined and screened the person, in terms of the success rate. Like every other surgery, cornea transplant can have complications, but during the process of screening and examining, we would have identify those ones that can benefit and would take due process so as to minimize the complications that can arise.
Okay.
Okay, so for the second question, can complications arise from a donated cornea? Yes, we can have complications, but for every surgery, we take adequate precautions to minimize whatsoever complications that can arise.
Okay, so what's the link between our diets and the way we maintain our eyes?
So diet is very important. It's important to eat well, just like for every part of the body. The eye eats to eat to eat vegetables, to take fruits, care for the eye, visit the eye doctors when there are problems, or annually, just for a good check. And that's basically all. And of course, avoid over-the-counter medications and avoid those medications that can potentially cause problems to the eye.
Okay, so I know you mentioned this in passing earlier, but again, maybe you can just talk about it now. So just like you have, you carry out tests to know the appropriateness of an organ from a donor to somebody who's receiving, does that also happen? Can one reject a cornea? Just like sometimes you hear people reacting or rejecting a donated kidney or during transplant. So is that also possible that part of the complication could be the fact that before surgery you were sure that this could work, and upon transplant things just went south, and the recipients just wasn't coping well with the cornea?
Yes, that has happened, but the experience we've had with our indigenous donors have been very good. We've just had two
like
and three transplant corneas, and they were very good. We didn't have such problems. So because we've not really had so much experience with the indigenous ones, the ones we did were very good. But from the ones that we've imported, there's been some challenges. Of course, there could be rejection with corneas, but the ones that have been indigenously harvested, they went well. But of course, it's 100%? Difficult to tell. Yes, because 100%. Yes, 100%. Because although it's very difficult to tell, because it's just been 3.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
We've not had so much
many
number
cases.
As compared to the ones that were we harvested from abroad.
Okay, so when you harvest cornea like that, does it have a lifespan in the eye bank?
Yes, so there are different ways that we can preserve these corneas, even though we'd like to use it as soon as possible, because that's where you have the optimal results. So, but what we tend to do, there are different mediums that can preserve to varying number of days. So we have the ones that can preserve for about 6 days, about a week. We have ones that can preserve for a little bit more than that. So, but usually for the ones that we've harvested indigenously, we've had to do them almost immediately, yes.
So, I mean, if someone dies and then you harvest and then there is no waiting patient for the transplant, what happens?
We have a ton of patients that are on the list for transplants. In fact, the demand is way, way, way. I don't know what else I can use to qualify that, more than the supply. Wow. So there's a long list of patients on the list.
Okay, so anytime you harvest, you can transplant almost immediately.
Yes, but I mentioned that we've just had 3 indigenous ones. But some of these people, they are eligible to have cornea transplant, but they don't have money. So once they don't have money, we keep them on the list and hope that someday some philanthropist may come and help them financially to do that. But of course, if we have our indigenous donors, then we have a lot of indigenous donors, then the barrier of finance automatically just fizzles out.
Okay, beyond appearing on a program like this, what else do you think we should do to actually embrace the culture of cornea donation in our society?
Well, I think creating awareness is very key, because a study was done recently and a lot of people don't even know about cornea donation. So that is one way. Then, of course, to create awareness, we need all hands on deck. We need the media. We need the Nigerian film industry because, you know, they are doing wonderfully well. But, you know, when it comes to, you know, this misconception of people living again, coming back again, and, you know, the ritual things, people believing that eyes can be used for rituals to get money, and, you know, all those things that have been propagated erroneously due to, you know, one misbelief or the other. So we need to break that myth and let people know that, you know, the cornea is something that can be useful to other people. And, you know, one of the patients that we harvested from, you know, he had told the children, you know, that he wants to donate his corneas. So when he dies, these corneas should be harvested. So when, of course, unfortunately, it was an accident, he was involved in an accident, but the children kept calling that we should come and harvest this cornea, that this is their father's wish, and, you know, they want to respect it, even though the harvesting time was more than the 6 hours. Okay, but we still harvested because they said you must harvest this cornea because this is what
last wish.
Yes, and of course the cornea was used, and, you know, people are benefited, and they keep praying for the family, and you know how much delight can you have when you know that even while you are dead, you are still impacting people. Someone is still living through you. Right. You know, generations are still being made. So I think that is something that people can, you know, that can serve as a motivation for people, because the corneas are not useful when you are dead.
When you're dead. Yes. So when you harvest, do you harvest one or both?
Both. So we harvested from 2 persons, but we used for 3 persons, because for one of the persons, it
was just one.
Yes.
Okay.
Eye, so.
Right. So you can actually harvest 2, but use one of the harvested. So if you harvest 2 from a person, and then the recipient needs just 1, you can use just 1.
So yes, because usually for the people that will, even because of the demand, the people we give priorities to are people that can't see at all, that are blind bilaterally. So for those ones, we just give 1, because for one potential donor, we can have 2 corneas, and it can give life to 2 people. So once we're able to, because usually once you have a good eye, one good eye, you can do virtually almost everything that everybody does. So we restore sight in that and give them the livelihood, you know, what they can do. Because once someone that is blind can restore, once the sight is restored, the person can function, person can go to work and work, you know, whatever trade they've learned, they can perform it, they can become a breadwinner, they can do things. So we give life to 2 people with 1 potential donor. Okay, okay. Ajibola, are you
I'm okay.
Any question from you ladies? None. All right. Okay, so we'll probably have to leave this conversation here. But again, if you'd like more information so that we don't, you know, do some form of marketing here, you can reach out to us. But your website is functional. Can you definitely just give the website? Let's just do the website.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'll get the website from her, and then we can, you know, get the website across to you, you know, as in the course of the program. Thank you so much, Dr. Sedotin Bashorun, consultant ophthalmologist from Lassoth, for finding time to be here on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's the much we can take. We all can make a pledge. Adibinkwe and Joy. And
pledge on national TV.
Oh, okay. I didn't say you should make a pledge now. I'm just saying, come on, guys. You all can make a pledge. I didn't say plug, harvest. You can donate your cornea when you're gone. You still have plenty years to spend now. Let's take a quick break. When the conversation returns, another life-saving issue the ladies will be taking through. Of course, this time it will be about blood donation. Okay, it's about health on the program today. We'll see you again after this short break.